The 11.2 patch of the War Within is finally here, and I've wasted no time in preparing for the first week. The professional WoW players told me exactly what to do, so that I don't miss out on anything important. Unfortunately, the meta hasn't been decided yet, so that means I will need to prepare all 4 tanks. At least we know for sure that Guardian Druid and Blood Decay are still waiting for the next expansion. And in this episode, I'll show you exactly what the first week of the last patch of the War Within looks like. What activities were there, as well as challenges I had to face. And how I geared up my characters, so that when the season kicks off on August 13th, I can dive headfirst into M+ dungeons. But before I do any diving, I just want to thank everyone who subscribed so far. Your support means a lot to me. After being gaslit for a couple of days by a certain streamer claiming that Paladin is the best tank, I decided to go through the new campaign on my Paladin first, to get some gear and the essential cloak. We accompany some ethereal, Luke Skywalker or something, to the new zone. I'm one of those people who don't really care about the story in WoW. I mean, after the Wrath of the Lich King it becomes kinda boring. And there's too many things to keep up with, especially if I've never played all these expansions. But anyway, I'm here to get a decent item level and the cloak. I'm not reading any quests and I skip all the cinematics. The quests are pretty much the same as 20 years ago. Kill 10 things here, collect 5 things there, activate something on the floor, and return back and get new chores. Sorry Blizzard. But after Xalatath was antagonized for an entire year, we're suddenly supposed to pretend nothing happened because there's now a bigger threat. And of course, it's the same old story. We must unite, and together, as friends, we can overcome anything. With the power of friendship, nothing can stop us. It's just bad writing. One thing I will give credit for is the theme, and the new zone actually looks pretty good to me. At some point in time during the story, I got a campaign bug, where it didn't proceed to the next step. It turned out to be a well-known issue, where login helps. The campaign would have been unbearable if I had all my characters prepped from the last season with this gear. I wouldn't get any upgrades from completing the quests. And my Paladin had terrible gear from leveling, so I had a dopamine spike anytime I got a gear upgrade during the campaign. Plus, I got to play and remember what the Paladin's rotation was. For around 25 minutes, we get to be a pool boy. We were sent to do some chores, clean the pool, terminate some pests, wash the floor, so we would get some ribbons. The available 3 out of 5 campaign chapters took me around 1 hour. And as I said, I enjoyed the most getting green gear upgrades. So I got my new cloak and some kind of a gem. Also, I needed to complete a couple of purple quests, so that my ults could get the cloak right away. Nothing time consuming, just introducing the cloak mechanic, kill a couple of mobs and then elite. And now the cloak needs to be upgraded by running 3 delves. There's also a quest from Bran to complete 3 delves. The best delve is the Fungal Folly. It's the quickest and the easiest, and also it's the closest to Dornogal. My friend, who in the first 24 hours maxed out all prep for his 4 characters, decided to join me in running delves on his 5th character. But don't worry, I'll be soloing level 8 delves on my other tanks in 400 eye level a bit later. But first, I accepted some weekly quests. I still had a terrible ring and a trinket, so I decided to check the auction house. The jewelry prices were insane and I only had 3k gold, so after all I guess the ring and trinket I had were not that bad. I looked for world quests that would award the missing pieces and found one. An easy quest blasting mobs from a ship for a good green trinket. And with that, we go into the delve. We had to start from level 4 delve, Bran had tank role and I had to compete for aggro with him. I felt a bit overwhelmed. I'm not used to playing Paladin, I'm dizzy most of the time, lack of practice I guess. It will take some time to learn what to press and manage defensives. Level 4 delve was a walk in the park. And I got my first thingy for upgrading the cloak. And now we're going to level 5 delve. No noticeable changes in difficulty. I got the second thing for upgrading the cloak. In the middle of the level 6 delve, there was a portal to an alternate part of the delve. To somehow diversify our delving experience, we jumped into the portal. Now unfortunately, it turned out to be just a room with trash. And that's pretty much it. The Fungal Folly is much better. Level 7 delve was also easy, pretty quick, no deaths, no close calls. The final boss got executed by something at 38% HP. And now, we finally get to the highly anticipated level 8 delve. This is where the good stuff is. The goal is to complete 4 delves, to have hero track gear in Vault. I got a bit overconfident by the middle of the delve and wasn't ready for the big pull. I cheated death, pressed shield wall and died shortly after that. I had lay of hands, but I'm still a bit dizzy and get lost in packs. I ran back as fast as possible while my friend was tanking the mobs with evasion up. This time around I used lay of hands and we killed the pack. Shortly after, it was my friend's turn to die from the mobs. If I were a better tank, I would have saved him. I then barely survived myself. The mobs are dangerous and we should have kicked more casts. After the level 8 delve, I got back to Dornogal to turn in the weekly quests to get 2 purple pieces of gear. I got a neck and a weapon. And now I'm off to kill the world boss, some dragon. We got around 30 people and started the fight. The boss's roar ability was insane. It did a lot of damage and killed several people. That was the only complicated mechanic of the fight. It took us 10 minutes to kill the boss. Luckily, I got a plate waste. I thought the gear that drops from the boss must match the armor type of your spec, but it wasn't the case, and I got lucky that it matched. I could have gotten anything, like useless cloth. After I've completed 3 delves, I have enough currency to upgrade my cloak to the 707 eye level. Feeling confident enough, and to take a break from running delves, I decided to form a group to try tanking M0. I picked the Dawnbreaker. I found people within a couple of minutes. And the strategy for this dungeon was that I press W, gather trash and act confident, and not showing any signs that I have no idea what's going on. I didn't die a single time. I assume we either had a great healer or the M0 difficulty is pretty low, or both. But I still make lots of mistakes with the rotation. I forget to press consecration and my hero talent ability. So much happens on the screen, and tracking kicks, casts, defensives got my head spinning. Well, I guess fake it till you make it. But anyway, it was a pretty chill run, we defeated all bosses easily, and I got an insane upgrade, a helmet. I was extremely happy. We then went back to delves. We completed 3 more of 8 level delves to fill the vault. My Paladin gameplay got a bit better, so there were no more deaths in Fungal Folly. So now on Wednesday I would get 2 vault options. I got back to Dornogal and spent some crests on upgrading my gear. For now, I will let my Paladin rest, and I will tend to my other tanks. My Demon Hunter from the previous season has the same item level as my Paladin now, so I only need to get the cloak and complete 4 level 8 delves to fill the vault. I was a bit bored from running the Fungal Folly delve, so I decided to check out the new Season 3 delve. It kinda looked like the Azure Vault dungeon from Dragonflight, and I am much more confident playing Vengeance Demon Hunter, so I encountered no difficulties in the new delve. But it seemed a bit longer. So to save some time and effort, I went back to Fungal Folly. And around 40 minutes later, I now have 2 vault slots from delves. I thought that the world's boss, Dragon, should be killed on each character to get a purple item. So I joined the group. I saw 2 tanks there already, so I switched my spec to Havoc. It was a very long fight, and if I was topping the DPS meter, then it means that the group DPS was insanely low. After 10 minutes, the boss was killed. And imagine how I felt when I got nothing. What a wasted time. On my Demon Hunter, I have nothing left to do. The A level is alright, not the best, but not the worst. And now, I'm going to attempt something challenging. Complete level 8 delve on my warrior, which has 441 eye level with the 707 cloak. The recommended eye level for level 8 delve is 678, so I'm a bit short. But tanks have it much easier than the DPS, so let's see if I can pull this off. It's been a while since I leveled this warrior, I kinda forgot the rotation and binds that I set. And of course, I set Bran to the heal role. So I initiate combat, click on every single defensive I have, and try to press lots of buttons. I do low damage, and the mobs hit hard. I had to kite a lot. Slowly but surely, I killed the mobs. I didn't want to wait for my defensives or kill 1 or 2 mobs at a time. I didn't have all day. It was then that I discovered that the spores can blow up enemies and deal lots of damage. That made the delves so much easier and faster, but still I had to be very careful. From now on, it was a game of luring enemies into the spores and making sure that I don't stand in the blast radius. Once again, I got overconfident and pulled lots of mobs, in a place where there weren't that many spores. I lived for a while I had my shield wall up. I tried to kite, but they got me. In my next attempt, I split the pool, killed a couple of mobs, and then for some reason got a brain lag for a split second and didn't run out of the spore blast. Around 20 minutes later, I finally get to the boss of the delve. Unfortunately, spores won't help me anymore. It doesn't do any damage to the boss. This particular boss turned out to be not that complicated. It had several abilities like spin for like 8 seconds, then the boss is stunned and the damage is increased. After that, I needed to press defensives, cause it hit pretty hard. So the only reason that I could die was if I got stuck and couldn't move or didn't press a defensive after the stun. The fight lasted around 7 minutes. It's a bit intense, one mistake would definitely kill me and I didn't want to start the fight over. So I highly anticipated some gear at the end of the delve and I got nothing. But it's okay, I know that this delve is doable, in my item level I just need to run 3 more. In the next run, I died right at the start. I got blasted by the spore. One step to the left and I would have been safe. I started the timer at the start to see how long it takes me to complete the delve. So the boss fight is around 7 minutes, so it took me on average 8 minutes to get to the boss. I would say that it's not that bad, considering my gear. And the delve could have a different scenario without the spores, which pretty much killed the mobs. So the total time is 15 minutes a run on my warrior. But once again, I didn't get any gear upgrades. In my third run, there were no close calls as well as any loot. But having completed 3 delves and obtained Titan discs, I can now turn in the weekly quests to get purple gear. I got a new ring from Bran and some pants. I had hoped for a weapon, but that's okay. I ran the last delve without any issues. I completed a couple of world quests to get some gear, and with that I will let my warrior rest. He still has terrible gear, but I decided not to focus on my warrior too much at the moment. And now it's time to run 4 level 8 delves on my fresh monk. The eye level is even worse than my warriors. Even with the cloak, it's still 429. I don't even have trinkets. So, here I go into the Fungal Folly level 8. I set Bran to healer role. It has also been a while since I leveled my monk. I forgot the rotation and the new build has different defensives. I faced difficulties on the very first pull. I pressed my buttons randomly like crazy, I kited mobs, but even with spores, I died. Slowly but surely, I've gotten the hang of playing monk. I started feeling much more confident, and actually monk seemed way too fun, which wasn't the case while I was leveling monk and warrior. Right before the end boss, there was a huge pack. I tried to snap half of them to the lower ground, but the nemesis mobs, they did not snap. So I thought I was screwed. There was no way I could defeat that many mobs in 400 eye level. But then I thought if the mobs didn't snap, that means I can just run past them, and they will return to their initial spot. This is 500 IQ gaming right there. The boss also took around 8 minutes. It was just as intense as with warrior, but I now know what to press, so the boss was easy. I got an insane mace from my first delve. The delve took 20 minutes. I now know that 429 eye level is more than enough for level 8 delve. So that I decided there was no point running 3 more without trinkets, so I went to do a world quest for a trinket. In my second run, Bran put a knife in my back by pulling mobs that I had intended to skip. I thought I still could win, but unfortunately it was way too much for me. Once again, the nemesis mobs were spawned before the boss. Having easily skipped them, I now enter the 7 minutes fight with the boss. The third run took me 10 minutes, which is my best time so far. After the 3 delves, I went to Dornogal to turn in the weekly quests. Running level 8 delves in low gear wasn't a challenge anymore, so I got gloves and a belt. And with that, the 4th delve seemed like another day in the office. No difficulties, no challenge, and at this time I felt a bit burned out from delves. With my 4 characters, I completed 20 delves in total, within 2 days, 19 of which are Fungal Folly. I enjoyed Monk a lot, but at this time I decided to focus on my Paladin. So, I've upgraded my UI, I bought it from a streamer. It has everything I need, feels like a lot of stuff on the screen, but I will just have to get used to it. I've decided to focus my efforts on Paladin. So far I've completed 1 out of 6 available M0 dungeons. I decided to start with the Eco-Dome. I haven't been here before, I don't know the dungeon at all, but I guess the press W strategy would also work here. And I could hit any boss's mechanic with the cheat death proc. I quickly found people in LFG. I tried to invite low gear players, so that I wouldn't have threat issues. I gathered the first pool. I'm dizzy as hell, so much happens on the screen. I'm not used to the new UI. There's also a VCore showing level of keys that my group has, which blocks a good chunk of my screen, but I try my best. My friend Rogue shadow steps behind the boss before I had the chance to get in melee range. so the boss instantly kills him. I use battle res on him. The boss turned out to be super easy, without anything complicated. On the next pack, I proc my cheat death. I forget to press consecration and my hero talent ability. Still, I'm not confident, and there's too many things happening at the same time. But it doesn't stop me from pulling lots of mobs. I choose learning from my mistakes, but it turns out alright, I'm not dying. The second boss was also easy, but at least it had an interesting mechanic. We had to point beams through it, which I didn't figure at the start, but I acted like I knew perfectly what to do. After the boss, I pulled lots of mobs, and someone pulled even more. At this point, our healer was sick and tired from what was going on and left the group after he died, which I didn't notice right away. But then I thought, who needs a healer with the Paladin tank? I will heal everyone myself. We dealt with the trash easily, I managed to stay alive and also heal my teammates. We got to the last boss. Something was telling me that it wouldn't be that easy as the previous two. In my group, only my friend knew what the boss did, and with that, we started the fight. Most of us failed the first mechanic. I didn't realize right away what it was, but mage died first. But I, as a tank, ate it. I rested the mage. The fight was very intense. I had to stay alive and heal my party. I procced all my cheat death abilities, I barely stayed alive, and I seemed to figure out what I had to do not to take that much damage. We had to run to the soul we were tethered with. Unfortunately, we wiped. But we got something even more valuable than gear, the experience. We all figured out the boss mechanic, and we were confident that we would kill it without a healer. I almost executed perfectly the intermission, where I collected 2 souls and was about to prolong the buff with the third one. But I was 1 second too late and it disappeared, and I took a lot of damage from the debuff. I was a bit mad at the healer who left, and also I didn't get any loot. However, the experience I got is very valuable and the dungeon seems alright. We then headed to Floodgate. At least I know the dungeon very well and we easily completed it without any issues. At least here I felt confident. I knew what every boss did. I got gloves at the end, another dopamine spike. It was a pretty chill run, nothing too exciting happened. Next we headed to Ara-Kara. Personally, I hate this dungeon. The theme is terrible, the bosses are a snooze fest. Even the last boss pretty much did nothing. And the intermissions is just stand in the puddle and then kick mob cast or use freedom bubble or stun them up to set yourself free. Nothing to even show here, except for my new beast trinket of course, which I'm very happy to get. We then headed to Priory. Personally, I hate this dungeon. Lots of annoying mobs and at least they highlighted the traps. Also there's a lot of patrolling mobs. But I was also familiar with this dungeon, so I was also confident here. I didn't die a single time. The second boss was fun though. I didn't get the right placing at the beginning, away from the hammers, but I handled the soak mechanic pretty well. The fight is pretty straightforward. Can't wait to try a plus 18 here. At the end of the dungeon, I got a shoulder upgrade. Man, this is so much fun! Next up is the Halls of Atonement. I've never been here before as well. I just went forward and took a turn to the right. I pulled the mobs. I didn't know that the gargoyle could set me flying. I pulled more trash that way. Lots of casters and the most annoying mobs with the crossbows that just stand far away and blast you. We killed the trash and initiated combat with the first mini-boss. Seems like we need to watch some anime or something, the bar at the top, to proceed forward in the dungeon. Then we did the same thing left from the start. Killed the trash and then the mini-boss. The first boss was fun. I figured out quickly what I had to do, but still I could use some work on placing the boss before the intermission. We had to run through the void zones, well, practice makes perfect. The next boss was kinda boring, just get mobs to the lanterns, but in my party I wasn't the only one who had never been here before. So 2 of us didn't make it, and we killed the boss with only 3 people alive. It was a very long fight. The last boss was cool, it was fun dodging the things, seems easy enough. In around 5 minutes we killed the boss, and I got nothing. I'm addicted to getting gear upgrades. I've completed all 6 M0 dungeons on my Paladin. I upgraded some of my gear and went to craft a shield and a ring, the last 2 green pieces of gear I had. Now my Paladin has 671 eye level. I've completed everything I could. I didn't do any quests to get the new reputation though. So at the end of the week, I wish I had more time to gear my warrior and monk. Monk turned out to be too much fun to play. But 4 characters would take too much time to gear. I had to make a choice. And I choose Paladin. What I liked about Paladin is that it feels good to save your teammates with a random lay of hands, hand of sacrifice, magic bop, or just regular heal. I still need to bind them to use mouse overs, and not like I did manually selecting the player and pressing the ability. I don't know which tank will end up as my main. I would like to get good at all of them, but at this time it's a bit unrealistic. So I guess I will stick to Paladin or DH for now. In the next week the season officially starts, or it's already started as I'm recording this. I will open the vault on all 4 characters and start doing them plus. Thank you all for watching. Let me know down in the comments which tank you consider as the most fun to play. Like, subscribe, so that I will see you in the next one.